Hi, this is Mitch Mitchell of TT Mitchell Consulting. Last week I wrote a post on LinkedIn, and truthfully, a couple weeks ago I didn't even know you could do such a thing, but it turns out that you can, and I've gotten some interest. So anyway, last week I wrote a post on the topic of basically reinventing your business. Do you have a broken business model? And I started to think about that a little bit because I have a very interesting business model. Basically, what happens for the most part is that I do projects. And sometimes it's a project that lasts 4 to 6 weeks. I mainly work from home. Then maybe I'll go on the road for a short period of time, meet with some people, give results, and then come back home. Sometimes it's totally at home where I just do the basic, work, whatever, maybe talk to some people on the phone, and we're good. Then I do projects like the one that I recently did where I spent 18 months in Memphis. Before that, I spent a year in Westchester County. I spent, 3 months down in Pennsylvania. I do all these different kinds of things. And I started to think about it a little bit more because I figured, I've been in business for 13 and a half years. And that's a rough way to run a business. So I started to try to think and said, well, what actually should I really be doing? How do I want my business to look? This is a question, by the way, that leaders should be asking themselves. How do they want their offices to run? How do they want to be perceived by the people who report to them? How do they want to be perceived by the people who are their peers? So anyway, there's this book here called The Millionaire Messenger by Brendon Burchard. This is a fascinating book, by the way. It's about 154 pages. And I read it a few years ago. And it's a great premise. The basic premise behind the book is that everybody has a field of expertise, whether they know it or not, that they can use to basically have a business that they like. Now, it's not as easy as it sounds, and it's really not easy at all, because the whole thing with businesses overall really comes down to marketing. It's not sales, it's marketing. How do you get the word out? How do you get to the right people, the people who can use your services? But it's an interesting premise. And he uses in the book the story about basically being a college kid with an older sister who was having some relationship issues. And she asked him some questions. He said he didn't know anything about it. So what he did is he went and he did some research. He read a bunch of books. He came back to his sister. He gave her some advice based on the books. She liked it. She told some of her friends. Next thing you know, a bunch of women were asking him for relationship advice. And then what happened is some guys heard it, and suddenly he was the relationship advice expert on his campus. He said all he did was research. And as he started thinking about it, he said that there are people who learn something to become an expert. Doesn't mean they know it all, but they know more than the people who need what they have to offer. Sometimes these are people who may have little twist on things. For instance, maybe you crochet and maybe there's this one little thing that you do that no one else does that you can share with other people, possibly find a way to make money off of it. Maybe you hold classes, or maybe you write some kind of book, or you take some pictures of different things, but all of us can do that. And this is basically his premise on being a thought leader. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately because I have been pretty successful in a lot of the things I've done for other people. And part of me sits there and says, well, I basically go on these long-term projects or whatever. I do something for these people just one at a time. How come I can't spread that to more people? There's got to be a way to spread that and this topic of leadership and some other things that I do to more people. It makes the business more stable. It gives the business actual opportunity to grow, something that my current model could never do. And I'm thinking that if this is something that is on my mind that I could possibly do with my business, this is something that other people could probably do with theirs. Like I said, it's not easy because you still have to overcome the thing about marketing. But you know what? That's been the battle for 13 and a half years, the thing about marketing. So, you get the word out there, you see what you can do. And I'm putting this out there to everyone else. If this is something that you've been thinking about or you're not unsure about the concept, you know what? Leave me a message down below. Maybe we'll end up having a conversation at some point. I'd love to talk to other people about this because my thought is that, one, I don't have to do it alone. Even if you're not in my industry, it may be something you're thinking about. And two, by putting heads together, who knows? I may figure out something for you and you may give me an idea and I sit back and I say, wow, look at that. We've all helped each other because there's enough for everybody. At least that's my opinion. What's yours? I'm Mitch Mitchell. Like I said, TT Mitchell Consulting. Hope you enjoyed the video. Share the video. Like, subscribe. I never remember to tell people or ask people to subscribe to the channel. So this time I'm going to say that. Hit the like thing. Do the subscribe. Share with other people. Let's start a revolution, folks. Y'all take care. Have a great night.